Welcome to the Progressive Mind Show here. Today I have with me a very wonderful gentleman, the person of Nathan. Nathan is my namesake. He doesn't know, but today I'm going to tell him, you're my namesake. I'm Nathan too. So, yeah, all this while I've been trying to hide it from... I think I got you now. Okay, all this while I've been trying to hide it from you. So, Nathan... I'll tell you a little bit about Nathan. Wonderful, wonderful, great guy. He's going to help the discussion today. Nathan, good evening and welcome to the Progressive Mind Show.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Senator? Thanks for having me.
All right. So folks don't know you. You want to take maybe 30 seconds to let them know who Nathan is.
Yeah, Nathan is Cool Eyes Nathan. I'm an Illinois media current student, getting ready to graduate in 3 weeks. And I am the future, I guess, host of the morning show here. And I came into this through my school, and it's been a beautiful thing ever since.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Like I said, Nathan's going to be helping with tonight's discussion. He's politically very inclined, and also, like he said, in the days to come, you're going to be hearing of Nathan more of him on this platform, the WGHC platform here. We're putting things together. He's a very wonderful guy with a lot of talent, a lot of potential. He's very depth, and so look out for Nathan, the Cooler. His name is Cooler, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a nickname. Hello, Dr. Willie Wilson.
I'm here.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. This is the Progressive Mind Show, and again, welcome to this wonderful show where we try to build our community discussion by discussion.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, so Scott did a very wonderful job. He gave us a very detailed background.
He did.
Yeah, within this short time. By the way, I'm also here with my co-host in the person of Nathan. So as we go on the conversation, he might ask you a question or two. But
okay, that'll be fine. I'm on my cell phone, so if I lose you, I call right back, or just call me right back.
Okay, right. Great. So he ended up where. He ended up with you donating to churches and basically talking about your benevolence to society at large. And we want to hear from the horse's own mouth. Since we have a couple of questions for you and we only have a few minutes to go, we want to hear from you what gives you the push or the drive to keep giving so much, because I have witnessed you've been on the news, basically giving out cash to people. What gives you the drive to keep doing this day in, day out?
Well, we give a little bit of both. First, I came from a very poor family, where that we had to, with sharecropper, 11 sisters and brother, and my mother had to borrow bread and syrup from the next door neighbor, and we had to pay it back the next day or two when we get it back. And so when I came up north, we was still poor, struggling, and we got a break in life, blessing in life to get our own businesses. And I just never have got out of the frame of mind that I came from a sharecropper, and I'm still a sharecropper today, just able to make a little bit more dollars so I can help more people. and so I never got out of that frame of mind.
Oh, right.
Being a Christian in my life, we are supposed to give. And so we continue to give. So we also give checks, but we also give a lot of cash too, because a lot of people that second chances don't have IDs, and so they can't go to the bank and cash a currency change because they do not have IDs. And so we help the needy, and we help those who do have bank accounts as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, we just told that you were booked until January, so I'm just going to tender our application for January, thereabout, or February for my church. Okay, can you please tell us? Of course, you've lived in the city, and it's a long journey for you in terms of trying to, in your attempt to become a mayor of this city. And Wilson told us why you have been trying to run for the mayor of this city. Now, we know if you live in Chicago, you know there's a lot of developments going on in downtown particular. You see all this cranes in the air in the downtown area and the media surroundings of downtown. But the situation or the story is not the same for the inner cities. Mm-hmm. And so if I may ask you, do you agree that there's a disparity when it comes to development in the city of Chicago? If so, what do you intend to do about it if you become the mayor of Chicago?
Well, it's not. It's not. If I'm going to become mayor of Chicago,
All right, now.
I'm going to become mayor of Chicago.
Okay.
To existence.
All right. And then, so when I become the mayor of the city of Chicago,
Okay.
All right.
there will not be separation of different classes of neighborhoods.
Great.
We're going to at least 7 community in Chicago, and we want to make sure that the tip dollars, the taxpayer dollars, reflect those community from a economic development standpoint of view, or I might say also equality and jobs, and also contracts, and also parity to make sure it can reflect all neighborhood, so that it will not create in one area a lot of crime, in the other areas pretty much no crime. And so we have to take that and get rid of the crime by creating the wealth within those communities, the resources. We must get those schools open back up, some of them anyway, make sure that we can get computers and update technology, and people can learn about them. Our schools right now, they got books, but other schools have computers, and so our kids is learning the past while the rest of them are learning the future. And so I think the word with economic equality with contract and job was started the right way, and make sure those claims that are downtown, they can exist in the minority community as well.
That would be beautiful. It will be a dream come true, because we know there's a direct correlation between the high crime rates that we're seeing in the minority communities, in the black communities, and economic development. So we're looking out for it. But my buddy here, my co-host here, Nathan, has a question for you.
How you doing? I'm Nathan.
Yeah.
I am a current student at Illinois Media.
Yeah.
I'm doing beautiful. I've seen you a lot. And now, let me just ask you, seeing the state of the way that we are here in Chicago with the violence, and you being a mayoral candidate, what would be the first issue that you would tackle here in Chicago, especially in the inner city, with the youth and people of color?
Well, see, I believe you attack violence by putting resources within the community that have never been put in before. You got to put the dollars into the community versus putting drugs into the community.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get a bill passed. When the first day we get in there, we will make sure that every alderman there will pass a bill that says everything should reflect equal in all 7 communities, the resources, in order to make sure that those dollars get in those communities. If you don't put the resources, the dollars in those communities, there always will be crime, And then but we got to do more than that. We got to make sure that as we do that, we got to put trade within the schools, trade within the community centers, trade within the churches, where they can learn computer skills and technology skills. We must do all of that so that our people would be able to know how to get these jobs and understand these jobs once they come available to deal with. So we have to partnership with corporate. We have to bring people in to train our people so they're equipped to handle these other jobs that outside forces comes in. We bring people in today from Michigan and from Indiana. You look at the license plate on those construction sites and those buildings. Those license plate people out of town. But yet, within the minority community, particularly people from 18 to maybe 34, the teenage, according to a study, 49% or 50% of them is unemployed.
Wow.
So you can't do nothing but have violence. The resources take care of the violence, not add more police officers and arresting people. Try something different.
Right.
We will try that different. We will make it work.
That's right. And I've heard from a lot of candidates. You listen to a lot of people's spiel and their speeches and everything. And okay, that's just political. But listening to you talk, I think God has given me the gift of discernment. I believe everything you're saying. It sounds genuine and sincere. And with that being said, we need, we should have had you a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, there's a big difference between myself and other candidates.
Yes, it is.
One is that I've had a track record where we got bill passed, got people out of jail, helped people with property taxes, and nobody else have done that but me. All right. The other difference is too is that I have my own money. I'm not beholden to anybody else.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So, so let's go into specifics regarding the youth. You said you've gotten some case out of jail. Tell us exactly what that is. How what program do you have in place that gets people out of jail, and what are the other things that you will do? You are doing, or you intend to do, if you become, or when you become the mayor of Chicago, to help alleviate kids roaming on the street and get more people out of jail?
Well, what happened was that we got out a lot of the nonviolent misdemeanor with our own money, but in addition to that, we got the bill passed to the governor that signed that nobody would not be discriminated against because they don't have $100 to get out if they make a left turn on a red light and they in there for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Right.
So we did that. It was signed by this governor, and that worked. And we had to spend dollars in terms of for lobbyists down in Springfield, and we had to buy advertising on TV and radio to make sure people are aware of what was going on to our kids and things of that nature. And once they got out, I gave them money in their pocket so they have some money to spend.
Oh, wow.
All right. And then so what we're doing now is that we're saying, look, go to the poll and vote,
Exactly.
and become part of the process out here. We'll have young people now on my team working with us so they can be part of the process, run for office, and let's get some trade in these schools and things so they can learn them.
Okay.
We're still pushing forward with our young people and making sure that they can get there. But I can do more when I become mayor.
That's right.
As opposed to the individual.
Right.
That's right.
All right. We have. It looks like our time is fast running by, but we want to get a few questions in before you go. But before we do that, want to recognize our listeners on Facebook. DJ Unique is watching us. Thank you so much for joining in. We have Nana Kofi, my own brother TK. Hey, wicked. TK is watching us all the way in from Ghana, Africa. Richard Kane says, good job. Good. Thank you so much, my brother Richard. Rich Kane. It was a good evening Saturday, this past Saturday. David Hunter Burns is also here, and David Burns is actually, she says, Marriott. Oh, yes. The event took place at Marriott. The GPN event took place at Marriott Hotel at Midway, which is Midway Hotel. It's also called the Midway Hotel, right? Okay, thank you so much, David Hunter, for that information. Inez is here. She has a lot of comments, but we're going to read Inez's comment a little bit later. Rebecca is also here. If you have a question, I'm going to open the phone line now. Maybe we'll take 1 or 2 questions because of time, so we can move on to the next one. Looks like we have a caller on the line. Let's try and get this.
Hey.
Hello, caller. Please go ahead and tell us your name and where you're calling.
My name's Miranda Atkinson, and I'm a student. Is Dr. Wilson still on the line?
Yes, he's here. He can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Wilson, my question is, once you become mayor, you say you got a program set up to help our youth to get out of prison. Once you become mayor, is there going to be more programs to help keep them out of prison instead of them going back to the same thing that they were doing to get themselves in there?
I like that question.
We would certainly do that. And first off, we must make sure that into the prison system within Cook County, the city of Chicago, that we begin to put trade within in the jail itself. So when they take then do that learn trade, then once they get out, we must make sure that trade is equal to some of their jobs and things that we'll have available by sharing their resources and economic empowerment and development reflect the community. Most people get out of jail, they don't have a trade.
Exactly.
And they just start to put the trade within the prison system. Once they get out, then if they haven't completed the trade outside, they can complete the trade there and work their way direct into a job and have something to do. I believe in all of that. I'm not running for get a paycheck. I'm not running for anything to gain of my own self.
No, right.
I'm sincere about this here because, like, I was born poor, and Lord blessed me to be where we at now. And so I'm going to reach back and continually to help the community to make a difference. I have to make sure that I have to sacrifice myself and in order to help others freely without any conflict of interest.
Okay, Dr. Wilson, we have
All right, I like that. I want you to know, keep up the good work. And you got my vote now. I want to hold you on to that because we got a lot of young people out here. We need a strong gentleman. All of us don't have fathers in our lives or mothers. But with strong people like you, I hope and pray.
Yes. Thank you so much, caller. We got to move on to the next one. We got a whole bunch of calls coming in. So please, thank you so much. You're welcome. Okay. So we want to caller. We lost the last caller. The guy was holding on. Can you please call us back so we can
please
have
do.
You. Yeah. We unfortunately lost the caller that was hanging on. But I have a question on Facebook for you. Two questions actually. One. Maybe Dr. Wilson, if you can help us answer these two questions quickly, I'll put these two questions in one and make it snappy for us. One is from Sarah Miller. She says, how do you plan to secure your votes given the large population of Chicagoans who are more interested in protecting their wealth and keeping distance from economical vulnerable populations? You appeal to a person like myself, but many of the people who have your mindset might not be the ones who feel compelled to vote. How will you appeal to the masses of Chicagoans?
Good question.
Well, I appeal to the Chicago just as I am. I know no other way.
Okay.
I say just check my record. Go to WillieWilsonForMayor.com and look me up on Facebook. Look all the things that we've done. Only way you can appeal to others is being yourself. I'd say this too, is that I won't lie to get in office for a vote. I will not, But look, we talk fact and figure. I am the only, particularly African American, running for, and most everybody else running for mayor. I'm the only business person who owns an international business that came from 20 cents per hour to a $62 million company, international. All right. And so you need to understand business to run Chicago,
That's
Nobody else had that business experience.
Okay.
I've hired hundreds of thousands of people during my whole career and created wealth and a job and entrepreneur.
Okay.
So that is where we have to go with it,
Right. I hope that answers Sarah's question. I think that was a very straight to the and brilliant response. Thank you so much, Dr. Wilson. We have another one for you from Facebook. Her name is Davida Hunter Brown. She says, there are viable candidates. Are you concerned that the black vote will split and an undesirable candidate might win?
Well, not really. I wish they would get out, but fine. Because those are the African American candidates don't have any money, and you need money to be in this race here now. All right, but it still doesn't matter because the fact of it is that I'm walking into Latino community, Asian community, white community. I'm not just running for the black community. I'm running for all Chicago, but making sure the minority community is not left out.
Okay. Okay.
And so I'm here to serve all citizens within the South. Now, some of the people that are in office now, running for the office, what are they running for? A lot of them got in after the mayor took then said he wasn't running. Those people, why would you get in after the mayor say not running? I said those people jump in, they coward. The mayor, they were scared of the mayor in order to jump in there. I just call them all cowards, And so, but you're not supposed to be serving the politicians. You're supposed to be serving the people themselves, And the other thing is that some of these people in the race, they in there by other forces and not by themselves because you don't have the money. Who's putting you in there,
Okay, thank you so much for that wonderful question. We have our next segment, who is in the person of Juliana Straton. She's running for lieutenant governor for the state of Illinois. But last question before you go, and if you can just make this brief for us. Red lights tickets in Chicago is just is a nightmare.
It's a good one, Senator.
What is your policy, or what would be your policy when you become mayor of Chicago?
First, you got to look at the contract. But my mission would be to destroy and get rid of red light cameras.
Okay.
Ooh, I love it.
Straight answer.
I love
Dr.
it.
Willie Wilson, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. And it's been a pleasure having you on the Progressive Mind Show. We are hoping to speak with you and work with you in the days to come.
Thank you so much. And we'll come back. Next time I have Scott to get me on air there with you guys.
Actually, we want you here because the folks on Facebook want to see you. They want to know who Dr. Willie Wilson is.
Right.
So hopefully we can have you in the studio so they can connect with you.
Yes.
We'll make that happen. Just Scott to make it happen.
All right. I'll be on Scott now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
God bless.
Thank you. God bless you.
God
Bye.
bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello. Do we have Juliana Wilson on the line? Juliana Straton on the line.
Hi, it's Juliana. How are you?
Hey, Juliana.
Hello,
I am
hello.
well. I'm well. Welcome to the Progressive Mind Show here at WGHC.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Before we continue our discussion with Juliana, I know some calls are still coming in, probably for Dr. Willie Wilson. The segment for Dr. Willie Wilson has just ended, and so we're going to continue with Juliana Straton, and then after Juliana Straton, we will speak with the fine gentleman that if you're on Facebook, you should see him here, Nafis Rahman. The camera is not on him yet, so I'm going to switch it in a minute.
Yeah, it's still on me.
Yes, it's still on you, right. Nafis Rahman is also running for mayor for the city of Schaumburg.
Yes,
and he's here in the studio, so we'll be talking.
Candidate.
Mayoral candidate. So we'll be talking to him very soon. Please, if you just join us on Facebook, share the feed so we can maximize the time we have here. So we can also maximize the message and the promotions that we want to do. We're embarking on for these candidates that are running. Also, the message is very important. We want people to get to know what these candidates are about so they can make a very informed decision. We also want to encourage you all to vote. That this time around is very, this time around is very crucial for all of us. And so please make sure that you are part of the political spectrum so that you are not a bystander. And continue the discussion with Juliana Straton. Juliana, you... Of course, by now, anybody who is a little bit politically inclined knows that we're going to be voting on the 6th of November for a governor for the state of Illinois. Please tell us, in a nutshell, who Juliana Straton is.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you again for having me on your show. I want to say to your listeners that, yes, Election Day is on November 6th. However, early voting has already started, and so we're really pushing to make sure as many people as possible get out to vote right now. Election Day has already started in many ways because you can vote every day starting right now all the way leading up to the November 6th Election Day. Wow. But I am proud to be running for lieutenant governor with J.B. Pritzker. Right. I hope to make history as the first black lieutenant governor in Illinois history. And I have been working on serving the public for over, really just for my entire career. I've had my own small business for 20 plus years, working to create a more fair workplace. I then went on to lead the Center for Public Safety and Justice at the University of Illinois at Chicago, where I train law enforcement around the country on building trust with the communities they serve. And currently I serve as a state representative of the 5th District. And I've been honored to be on the ticket with JB. We've been traveling the state and really just getting to know the issues for all the 102 counties around our state. It's been an incredible journey.
Brilliant. You also got your undergrad degree from DePaul. Is that correct?
No, I actually got my undergraduate degree in broadcast journalism from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign.
Okay.
I went to law school at DePaul, and that's where I received my Juris Doctorate.
Absolutely. And you have a family of 3 beautiful daughters?
I have 3 daughters. They're ages 21, 24, and 27. They're huge support to me on the campaign trail, but I'm very proud of all 3 of them as they continue to make their way in the world.
If Juliana is not working or talking politics, what will she be doing when she's winding down at home?
Well, it feels like politics has been such a part of my life for the last several years, but I still try to find, even on the campaign trail, try to find ways to unwind. And so sometimes I'll just, sit in the yard and listen to music and just relax, or have a few friends over. The campaign has been very busy because JB and I have prioritized getting to as many communities around our state as we can. So there's not a lot of free time, but I do get a few moments to just sort of sit, read a little bit, listen to the music that I enjoy, and sometimes if I have a chance to cook, I really enjoy cooking, and so I try to get that done as well.
I was going to ask you, you like to cook? Okay. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite food, if I may ask, Juliana?
What type of food will I cook?
Your favorite food.
Oh, okay. Well, so I don't know if it's too fancy, but I like taking all sorts of different vegetables and sautéing them or roasting them, and adding brown rice and beans, black beans and other things, and just kind of making a dish that's really like healthy to me, that's really hearty to me. But I also know how to cook soul food pretty well.
Hey, Juliana, are you into sports, basketball, soccer, football?
Do I play any sports?
No. Which of these is your favorite? Or you like to watch if you have to?
Yeah, so I'll tune in Chicago sports because I support our Chicago teams. I'm a White Sox fan. I'm a Bears fan. They haven't made me too happy this season so far, but I check out, and the Bulls. I check out those sports. But
okay.
As an athlete, I'm a marathoner and triathlete.
Yes.
So I've run 5 marathons, and I've done about 7 triathlons. So that's one of the ways that I really like to. That's one of my hobbies.
That was what I was going to.
And that reminds me, when I'm cooking, my other hobby, when you said, what do I do when I'm not campaigning, I also like to work out. So if I eat a lot because I'm cooking, then I also have the workout to make sure I burn those calories.
Okay. Wonderful job. I said triathlon, and now, that's beautiful. I mean, people who do that, I wonder. They're different species. They're different.
You said different species.
No, they're special. Like,
we're still human.
I know. Yeah, sometimes you make it look like you're not humans. I mean, you do all that. If you don't know what a triathlon is, Google it now and find out what a triathlon. This is like super ability they have.
When we do triathlons, we do a 1-mile swim. We do a 26-mile bike and a 6-mile run.
No,
so that's the Olympic distance.
Kudos.
And, it takes training and it takes a lot of practice and time, but it's I think it's a great way to stay in shape.
Hopefully, you can bring all this stamina to the seat of government if you become the next lieutenant governor of the state of Illinois.
Well, I tell you, being on the campaign trail certainly requires a lot of stamina, especially if you really want to try to reach as many people as you can. But JB and I, we have some really big plans for our state. After these last 4 years of Bruce Rauner, which has been so devastating to our state, we went 736 days without a budget. We saw social service agencies close down, mental health facilities closed down, violence prevention programs shut down, people laid off. Our colleges and universities were on the brink of, many of them, of closing their doors and turning to junk bond status. So there's a lot that we have to do to help turn our state around, and that is going to require stamina, and it's going to require some real vision and leadership, and JB and I certainly hope to bring that to our state.
As the first black woman ever to run for this position, and so, I mean, hopefully, and if you do get it, do you feel an extra pressure on you?
So I don't know if I would call it extra pressure. What I feel is that this is an opportunity. We know that certainly the voices of communities of color have not always throughout history been at the table where decision making takes place.
Right.
And JB sees me as a partner in selecting me as his running mate, but it's not just something that's just sort of on the side. He sees me as a real partner. We talk about the issues on the campaign. We talk about policy. We talk about how we want our administration to be. We want to have one of the most inclusive administrations. We want to make sure that all communities are represented, and we're thinking racially, gender-wise, sexual orientation. We're thinking geography, making sure that all populations throughout our state, ethnicities, all are represented in some way, and at least have some voice to be able to make sure that we have a connection with the community, so that we can make sure that their interests are heard. So I wouldn't call it pressure, because throughout my career, I've been focused on making sure that we address issues of marginalized communities. And I think what it does is it amplifies that ability to be able to say, you know what? These are our issues, and these are the things that we want to make sure that when we think about where our state goes, that we don't forget about the communities that have suffered decades of disinvestment. We don't forget about communities of color that don't often have the same level of opportunity.
Right.
It's an opportunity, and JB and I both believe that this is something that we need to focus on.
Okay. We haven't got into this phone line section, but the lines are buzzing already. But there are a few questions that I want us to get through. Briefly, you're running on the ticket of JB Pritzker. I've seen his posters. Some folks in my community ask, who's this man? We see him on TV and all that. So now that we have you, tell us in a nutshell who is JB Pritzker? How was his upbringing to becoming who he is now?
Sure. So JB is someone who, from a very early age, and he talks a lot about how his mom in particular had an emphasis on raising him to be focused on social and economic justice. And so when he was a very young child, really, he was knocking on doors with his mom for progressive issues and really focused on, issues relating to justice. Throughout his life, one of the things that we try to focus on is the fact that, sometimes you have people who run for office and then you say, what were you doing with your life before you ran for office? Mm-hmm. And JB is somebody who has a track record of working on issues that I think all of us, and certainly your listeners, would care about. Things like making sure that over 250,000 children got access to school breakfast. Children from low-income families who often wouldn't have, healthy meals all the time. He helped expand a program that was started by President Obama to make sure that over 250,000 children got access to breakfast. He's somebody who's a national leader on early childhood education, and that's so critical because when we help our children get the best start, it helps them to have a productive life throughout, both educationally, professionally, and socially. He's also somebody, though, that has created jobs, so he's someone who started 1871, and between that and his own companies, as a businessman, he has created thousands of jobs.
Wow.
And hundreds of companies, helped start hundreds of companies through those endeavors. And that's exactly the kind of thing that we want to see happen all across our state. 2/3 of the jobs in our state really are created through small businesses and startups. People think it's just the big companies, and we do want to attract large companies to our state. But if we can make sure in communities, especially communities of color, that people can start businesses and grow those businesses, have technical assistance and access to capital, that's where we're going to see the jobs. And most importantly, not most, but just as importantly, I should say, it's also a place where people will spend their money in the community and allow that economy to circulate. And I know you all know how important that is, that people can say, instead of having to go 2 or 3 communities over or go downtown or go somewhere else, I can spend money right in my community. That's the way we build strong communities.
Now, we also know that he's the first billionaire running for governor in the state of Illinois. Is that correct?
I
we don't know that stats. Okay, you're not sure. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's the first.
First, okay. But he's a billionaire running for governor. And so,
yes.
From a layman's point of view, okay, Illinois has a lot of budgetary issues, so maybe he will cover our budgetary issues with his bill. maybe he can help us come out of that. Since of course it's a.
Well, let me just say this. I
Please.
mean, one of the things that there's a couple of things about what's happened with our budgetary issues, and these are things that there's we've had issues in our state, but remember, there's only been one governor, whether we look at Democrat, Republican, a Democrat legislature or a Republican legislature, only one time in Illinois history did we not pass a budget in Illinois, and that was those 736 days under Bruce Rauner.
Right.
And that's significant for people to realize that, yes, we've had challenges in our state, but we always were able to figure out a budget. So we need somebody who's not going to come in with an anti-union Koch brothers network agenda like Bruce Rauner, and have somebody who's really going to work with people to make sure on both sides of the aisle that we negotiate a budget that can help meet the needs of the people of our state. But we also have to bring in more revenue to our state.
Yes.
When we think about a budget, we have to have, the expenses, we have to have the revenue, and then we have to have growth. And I talked about how small business development and other things will bring growth. We know what our expenses are in the state, to run the government. But in terms of revenue, and that's why JB has proposed a fair tax system where wealthier will pay more. And so that is one of the ways that he proposes, that instead of paying the same amount that he pays, the same amount that somebody who's a child care worker, they shouldn't pay the same tax rate. So we've proposed that people who are wealthier would pay more, and that we would be able to see, hopefully, a tax cut for many of the many Illinoisans. We also, in addition to the fair tax, we've also proposed legalizing cannabis, because that's one way to not only legalize and tax to bring in more revenue, but it's also a social justice issue when we think about communities of color that have disproportionately been impacted by the war on drugs. We should not only allow people to, number one, make sure that that's no longer illegal. Secondly, make sure that people who have a record, we can work on expunging those records so that those records are clear. But finally, we need to make sure that as this industry continues and grows in the state of Illinois, that people who have been from communities disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs would also have an entry point into this industry, so that they can also benefit from this industry.
I tell you what, the lines are on fire. But before we go to the lines, my co-host here, Nathan, wants to ask a question briefly, and then we'll go to the lines.
Well, basically, the question that I want to ask, and this is just for the listeners and the people that are ignorant to the criteria of said that's the position that you're going for. So, Ms. Stratton,
the lieutenant governor?
Yeah. So can you describe what that entails, the lieutenant governor's seat, what that entails in your duties? Because, I mean, a lot of people that are young and just coming into voting now, is we want them to come out to vote, but we also want them to be educated on what the different seats and positions mean and what they do in the communities and what they stand for.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate you asking that question, because people hear the term and they say, "Oh, okay, you're running with JB."
Right.
But too many don't know what lieutenant governor is. And so I really appreciate the question, because I'm all about educating as well.
All right.
So the lieutenant governor is really in the role, I would use as an analogy, president, vice president. So the lieutenant governor is someone that's a partner to the governor, somebody who can certainly assist with helping with the administration of the state government. I would be the person directly working with JB as he, carries out his role as the governor. But there are a couple of things that JB and I have proposed that I would do, and one of them is I would be tasked with leading a newly created Office of Criminal Justice Reform and Economic Opportunity. And this is something that I'm really passionate about, because I've done a lot of work as a state representative in criminal justice reform, and also throughout my career, I've been a restorative justice practitioner and trained peace circle keeper. So this is work that I've done in communities all around the state, the city of Chicago. But so with this office, one of the things that we know is that a lack of economic opportunity is what leads so many people into the criminal justice system. And when people come out of the criminal justice system, too many of them end up with, if they don't have economic opportunity, they just cycle in and out of that system.
Exactly.
And so that's one of the things I would be tasked with. There's a couple of other statutory responsibilities, such as rural affairs and other things, that I'm actually really excited about because I've gotten to know so much of the state. And there's really a lot of parallels between some of the communities in even urban areas like Chicago and some of rural Illinois, where there's a lack of access to health care, lack of access to quality housing, high unemployment. These are things that we need to be able to draw the nexus to and show the state that, you know what, these issues, we've had a governor for the last 4 years who's tried to divide us and say there's nothing in common between what's happening in one part of the state versus the other, and he's tried to pit us against each other.
Yep.
So I really want to help bring a role of helping to mend and heal and bring together our communities so that we can understand how do we attack these issues together and prioritize these issues for some of the communities that have been most forgotten.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much.
Very well spoken.
Well, I know you have a follow-up question, but let's go to the phone lines. We have a call on the line. Please tell us your name and why you're calling.
Yes, my name is Eric, student at Kennedy College.
Yeah, before you continue though, Eric, if you're a caller and you're holding on, can you please turn down the volume of your sets or the device you're listening to us on? That way we're not getting feedback. Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a concerning question for Dr. Wilson. Like, in what ways will
you got the wrong person. That's not Dr. Wilson.
You were trying to. This is not Dr. Wilson. This is Juliana Stratton. She's running for lieutenant governor.
It's for her too, though. It's actually for her.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, in what ways are you going to convince or persuade people to vote? Because there's people like myself that's not sure who to vote for due to past experiences. So, like, in what ways are you going to convince, persuade people like myself to go and vote?
And Eric, please turn down the volume of your set, okay?
I have no volume. Mine is quiet.
Okay, there must be the next caller. Emma, looks like Emma or somebody. If you're listening to us and you're online, if you're holding to speak with Juliana,
the
please.
volume is down.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Juliana.
I didn't hear the question. Was there a question?
Yes, the question was how are you going to convince people like him who is not sure who to vote for due to past experiences when they have not voted?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so I thank you for that question because that really is the key question of this election cycle. You're looking at the candidates, you're making an informed decision. Clearly your listeners are informed voters. They want to make sure that they understand the candidates. So here's the thing. I talked a little bit before about what has happened under the last 4 years, and in every way, Governor Rauner has failed. And he has specifically failed our community. So going 736 days without a budget, that devastated the state. The level of devastation in communities that had already suffered decades of disinvestment, to know that they had cut job training programs, cut violence prevention programs, cut mental health services, cut child care assistance. These are things that many communities rely upon for safe and thriving communities, and the assistance that they need many times just to get a leg up and be able to provide for their families. And so we've had a governor who didn't care about our communities, who for the last 4 years was willing to sacrifice all of the key programs for our communities and didn't care and didn't work on a budget, didn't propose a balanced budget, didn't do anything that was part of his job. And he did so because he had an anti-union agenda. This is a governor who, as I said, when we talk about how important education is and helping young people do well in not just K through 12, but go on to college and university if that's what they desire to do, this is a governor that was willing to sacrifice our colleges and universities. That's a problem, and many of them almost were on the verge of closing their doors. This meant that 72,000 students ended up leaving the state of Illinois because they couldn't count on our colleges and universities being open, especially students, low-income students who needed MAP grants, but that grant funding was cut off because of this governor. And we know what happened in the Quincy Veterans Home, where there was fatal mismanagement, where we had, I believe, 14 people die, both family members, veterans and their family members. And this is it's been a disaster over the last 4 years.
All right.
So we need somebody who provides leadership and vision, who puts the needs of the people of our state above his or her own personal agenda, and that's exactly the kind of leadership that J.B. Pritzker would bring. And I know that we've even proposed several plans, which I hope you'll check out on jbpritzker.com, but one of them includes an economic inclusion plan, because we specifically want to focus on how communities of color can be lifted up after so many decades of being forgotten.
All right, thank you so much. That was a brilliant response. We'll go to the next caller. Thank you so much, Eric, for ringing in. Caller, Emma, can you please tell us your name and where you're calling?
Yes, my name is Emma Brookins, and I'm a student.
Yes, please go ahead with your question real quick. We only have a few minutes. Seconds, sorry.
Okay, the question is real short, because I've been noticing when Scott was there, he mentioned it, and Dr. Willie Wilson, he mentioned it. And I just want to know that she mentioned that she had 3 daughters. Juliana Stratton mentioned that she had 3 daughters. I was just wondering, was there a male figure involved? Or is she the head of the household, or is she a single mother?
Oh, okay.
I'm personally, I'm not married, but they have a dad that's very involved in their lives, and we raised all of our children together.
Okay.
Okay, that was real simple. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Juliana, we have we only passed 1 minute past our time, but quickly, before we wrap the conversation and go to Nafis, your policy on immigration and then criminal justice. I know you touched base a little bit on criminal justice and the youth, maybe, but if you can just tell us your policy on immigration, and then you touch a little bit on the last 2, and then we can wrap up tonight's discussion.
Sure. And you say, first of all, did you say about immigration?
Yes, please. Yes.
As well?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, I was a proud sponsor of the Trust Act, and that's something that I supported as a legislator. I also sponsored other legislation to make sure that there's access for our immigrant communities. And I also, JB and I both believe that Illinois should be a welcoming state. You know that we just had our governor just this past week, Governor Rauner, talked about our immigrant community. And he said that this was something, our immigrant community was responsible for violence. And he's made other similar statements. And in many ways, it sounds very similar to Donald Trump. JB has been somebody who has stood up, he will stand up to Donald Trump in any kind of efforts, and we support we have made it very clear that we want Illinois to be a welcoming state.
All right, and then and the policy on criminal justice, because we know that the system is not necessarily fair when it comes to the minority community, and so is there anything, or is there any policy? Is your government going to do anything about it? To make sure that we have a leveling or a level playground or a level field. Let me say that when it comes to criminal justice in the state of Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked a little bit about the fact that, first of all, we're going to establish an Office of Criminal Justice Reform and Economic Opportunity.
Yes. Because
we believe that it's really important to make sure that we allow that. And I also talked about legalizing marijuana, cannabis, and making sure that it's both not just from a revenue-generating standpoint, but from a criminal justice reform. But then also when we think about gun violence, because even though criminal justice, I mean, that is important, but we have to look at a comprehensive approach to how to make sure that we provide more opportunities for people to keep them out of the system in the first place. You know, a lot of times people talk about criminal justice reform in terms of what do we do when people come out. I think the way that I like to think about it is what can we do in communities to keep people from going there in the first place into our jails and prisons. I'm the chief sponsor of House Bill 4469 to allow people to be able to vote in jails. and then get information about the fact that they are eligible to vote even coming out of our prison. And Governor Rauner issued an amendatory veto to that second part of the bill. So, I won't get into why.
I'm sorry.
We believe we should look at gun violence as a public health issue. We believe in making sure that we focus on restoring the community, the social service and human service programs back in our state, which is why the budget is such an important thing. During that time that the budget crisis was going on, and we're still not all the way out of the hole, of course, but we saw a lot of increase in there was a correlation of some of the violence. I'm not going to say it all stemmed from that, but certainly not having the resources in our community was devastating to so many communities of color.
All right, Juliana Straton, thank you so much for your contribution to tonight's show. I am sure that our community and beyond have heard you, and also have gotten a glimpse of the vision that your team is bringing, which is not governor, but J.B. Pritzker, and you are hoping and looking forward to bringing to the state of Illinois. We wish you all the best, and we pray that your heart desires come through. We are hoping to work with you now and in the future as well.
Well, we thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to your listeners. And we appreciate all prayers, because I'm a person of faith, but I also want to add that faith without works is dead. We have to pray, and then we have to get to the polls to vote. I want to encourage everyone to do that starting. Get out there tomorrow. Don't wait until November 6th. Early vote, and that's how we make our voices heard.
Before you go, do you think that J.B. Pritzker likes soccer?
Soccer?
Look, I'm a soccer fan, so anybody that comes to my show, I try to.
You know what? I like to call it football.
Okay, that's American football, right? I mean, the one that's.
No.
Okay.
Soccer.
The real football in. Okay, you're right. That's what we call it in Africa too. But
all three of my daughters played soccer.
Okay, and does he like to play, or does he even watch it?
You know what? That's one question I have not asked him. So
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I know he's a sports fan.
What's his favorite sport?
I wouldn't put it past him. Yeah, he likes sports, so I wouldn't put it past him.
Do you know his favorite sport?
I know he's a Bears fan too.
Oh.
He's a Bears fan.
Okay.
I'm sorry. He's also a Cubs fan. I can tell you he's a Cubs fan.
Bears fan, Cubs fan. All right. Hey, once again, good luck, and it was nice speaking with you. Have a wonderful evening.
All right. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you too. Okay, we just spoke with Juliana Straton. She is running for the position of Lieutenant Governor for J.B. Pritzker. Early voting has started, as she said. November 6th is when the voting actually is going to take place, right? General elections is going to take place, right? Yep. And on that day, the Progressive Minds will be here with a strong team to analyze the elections and so forth. Next on the bill is Nafis Rahman. He is running for the office of mayor, but not here in the city of Chicago, in Schaumburg. Okay, pardon the producer tonight, which is Alinko. I'm also serving as the host, and so I will get it. I'll get this. So something that I know I am not doing right in terms of the engineering of things. So the music is not coming right. I keep getting echo, and I apologize to our listeners for that little glitch. But we'll go straight to Nafis and speak to him regarding his candidature. Nafis, welcome to the Progressive Mind Show once again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Nafis, a little research into your background tells me that you moved into Schaumburg some years ago. Actually, by the way, Schaumburg is a German word, and so I've always been wondering Schaumburg, and so I just realized a German word. It has a long history tied to Germans, but that's not why we are here. Actually, when you came here as a child, you ended up with a company, a manufacturing company, right, while you were working, and that company closed down and was leaving town. Right. You helped saved that company and worked there and later on became the CEO or the executive director or something. Please tell us.
So let me give you my background.
Yes,
Again,
yes.
my name is Nafis Rahman. I'm running for the president of Village of Schaumburg. Call it president, it's a mayoral president, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
It's the same job. Okay. So I migrated to this country in 1986. I've been living in Schaumburg since 1996, 10 years post my after I migrated to this country. I went to DePaul University. I went to DePaul University also, did my undergrad, and then I finished my master's MBA from Lake Forest Graduate School of Management. I'm married with 2 children. Basically, I worked in every single capacity in manufacturing. I have worked hard in this country, as you know. If you want to be somebody, you can be somebody in this country. And fortunately, I worked very hard and became a CEO of a company where the company was in distress. We brought in the management team and turned that company around and sold that company for a lot of money. So as I was the CEO, I was traveling a lot.
Would you like to mention the name of the company?
I'd rather not say that.
Okay.
It's a privately held company.
No, okay.
And it's the 3rd largest office supply manufacturing company in the U.S.
Okay.
Okay, I can tell you all that. So after 7 years, my kids were in high school and I was traveling 100% of my time. Okay, so my wife said, you need to slow down and start working locally. And at that time, I met with the Illinois Secretary of State, the Honorable Jesse White. He offered me a position as a deputy director in accounting revenue for state of Illinois, where I managed $2.5 billion for him.
Wow. That's brilliant. Right now, we have. I know you're running against 2 other candidates.
That's correct.
Okay. What made you decide to run for this position?
So, volunteerism is in my DNA. I like to help people. I've been helping Jesse White Foundation for the past 10 years. I've been helping Honorable Jesse White for, he called it Trunk Party, for the last 4 years. And I'll give you a little detail on that so people understand what is it entail of. And I also help him with emergency funds. Emergency fund, Secretary White has been doing it for a long time. 1 week before Christmas, he goes door to door and distribute turkey and ham to every 17,000 homes in Chicagoland area, and I try to help as much as I can and go door to door with him. Jesse White Foundation, everybody knows. Jesse White Trunk Party is something he started 5 years ago, where he sends between 500 to 750 kids to college and give them pretty much a trunk filled with what students need to go to school: laptop, bedding, pillows, you name it, and it's in the trunk. So I'm honored to work with him on that project. I also serve in few boards. Susie's Place, they help battered women and provide them shelter. I'm a board member there. And also Sonia Shah Foundation. Sonia Shah Foundation was created by Sonia Shah. Her mom, Iram Shah, is running that foundation. She was a high school student. She wanted to open a girls' school in Pakistan. And she went to Pakistan, looked at the land, came back here, had an accident, and passed away. So her legacy is been continued by her mom, and I'm honored to serve in that capacity as well. So, and also held distressed business where the business is going down. I try to turn them around, and I do all that as my voluntary service. So keeping that in mind, I have the experience of a CEO. That's where the Schaumburg president is required. And so a year ago, I've been thinking about it and finally made a decision to run for that office. And it's not easy, as you know, to run for those offices, but I have a full strategy and a plan to make sure there are transparencies, accountability in the village hall. The biggest issue in Schaumburg right now is the taxes. Our property taxes are extremely high. I'm working on putting together a strategy to make sure that we somehow lower those taxes, bring diversity to the city hall, and educate students on drug and smoke in high school. It's a big problem in Schaumburg. Also, gun control, mental awareness, what Juliana had mentioned. I'm a big proponent for that, and I want to bring some type of treatment plan for those kids who are mentally ill. Also, my biggest thing that I would like to accomplish is build vocational school for kids in Schaumburg. Look, not everybody wants to go for four-year college, okay? We have to understand, be cognizant about it, and we want to provide those kids who are good with their hands and provide them some type of vocational training, okay?
Let me ask though. What I know you have a lot of policies or plans for and strategies to develop or to improve the city of the township of Schaumburg. Schaumburg is
village.
It's a village.
Village
right?
of Schaumburg.
It's village of Schaumburg, which is also a township. I mean, it's under the jurisdiction of Cook, right? Cook County.
Correct.
Okay. Let me know what makes you a better candidate. What makes you thicker, right, than the other two candidates, and what makes you feel that you have the passion to execute and work for the people again than your two competitors?
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, I have a passion for volunteerism.
Okay.
That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, the experience that I have being a CEO for 7 years. I have pretty much done every single department, ran every single department, made them efficient and effective. So keeping that in mind, I have the knowledge, I have the talent base to run Schaumburg as efficiently as possible.
How is the campaign going so far?
So campaign, we barely started the campaign. We are waiting for midterm elections to be over. Once it's over, we're going to jump in 100% and start knocking door to door.
You have a fundraiser coming up, right?
I have a fundraiser coming up this Friday. Please, if you like to join, it's Embassy Suite Schaumburg from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., hosted by the Illinois Secretary of State, the Honorable Jesse White, who has also endorsed me. He was my first endorsement. I've received an endorsement from Susanna Mendoza, Illinois Comptroller, Cook County Clerk, David Orr, Mayor of New Lenox, Timothy Balderman. So it's a balance of Democrats and Republicans who has been endorsing me. What I'm looking for, the people in Schaumburg, please go out and vote. April 2nd is our date to vote, and make sure the right candidate is picked, because it's a big city, 74,000 population. We have about 30% Asians in that city. Okay, still about 50% Caucasians, 5% African American, and about 10% Hispanics.
Wow. Nathan has a question for you.
Yes, I do. Well, we've been sitting here all this time together. So my question for you is, you're in the village of Schaumburg, and we know that, different subsidiaries, they have, their different jurisdictions. How closely do you work with the other mayors and candidates or the other people that are in positions, such as the Jesse Whites, the Rahm Emanuels? Do you work closely with them? And if so, why?
So as you know, I work for Secretary White.
Okay.
In revenue department. It's called accounting revenue.
As executive director?
As a deputy director.
Deputy director, sorry. Okay.
Right? And manage $2.5 billion.
Okay.
Okay.
You're in control of $2.5 billion.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay?
You're not a billionaire, but you manage the
No,
billionaire.
that's it. I just manage. The budget for Schaumburg is $200 million. Okay, so a relatively smaller budget that can be manageable. Secretary White has trusted me with $2.5 billion. So
that's a lot of money.
That's
to be trusted with.
That's it.
It is.
And then, people who I work with, I build relationship with them. I'm humbled to say that I have a great relationship with a lot of politicians, including I started to meet the neighboring mayors. Okay, and trying to build my relationship with them and put together a cohesive strategies with them and to make sure that if we get benefit in Schaumburg, then we share the benefit with the sister cities around the world. Okay?
Which one are you allowed to mention some names? Or?
So I met with the mayor of Hoffman Estates, and I'm planning to meet the rest of the mayors of Roselle, Palatine, and nearby suburbs.
So you believe in working with people for a common good?
Absolutely. Look, I believe in that, and I believe in diversity. Okay. Diversity brings us to the next platform. We're diversity, but we don't have diversity in the city hall.
Wow.
And we want to bring that to the city hall.
Okay. We want to give you the chance to speak regarding your fundraiser again, because I know that's very important to you. But while you do that, Nathan, what's your assessment so far? We have a few minutes to wrap up here. I think we have what? Okay. The next show is coming up. It's called Straight Talk. Straight Talk is an Igbo show. They are three wonderful gentlemen, very intellectual. I call them the three wise men. They speak on matters. They speak on political issues, ranging from the African continent, America, Europe, you name it. They go very deep. And so they'll be joining us very soon. But before that, I want to get, Nathan, your assessment on tonight so far. I mean, we've spoken to, he's the third politician we're speaking to now.
Right.
The elections are coming up. So far, what's your assessment? And then we'll come back to Nafi so he can tell us more about his fundraiser.
To be honest, I think that being a CEO of the company for 7 years, that says a whole lot right there. That says that you know how to treat a position of power. And the way that you're talking now, diversity, that's very important right now. Especially with what's going on in the communities here in Illinois, not just in Chicago, but what's going on in the village of Schaumburg as well. I heard you say that you were wanting to put vocational schools. I think that's a great idea. And just sitting here with you now, you seem real cool. Y'all look at him. He's real cool. I'm sitting with the mayor, the new mayor of Schaumburg. But
it's not a new mayor yet.
Not yet.
I'm speaking it into existence for him. But I think that from the way that you're talking, that you are going in the right direction. The vocationals and the diversity, and you have a lot of power hitters behind you endorsing you. So I see good things happening. I know you now, so when I ride out there, if my tags is back, and I just tell them you said I was cool.
In addition, let me tell you one more thing. My whole family, we have a big family. We are 7 boys and 4 girls.
Wow.
And all of our parents have done a great job giving us phenomenal education. We have 2 medical doctors in the family. We have 1 PhD. My brother is a PhD. He's a nuclear physics degree. He was teaching at DePaul University and also the vice president of Truman College. He just retired. And rest of them, we have other couple of brothers going for his PhDs, and we all have masters or undergrad. So education is very big in our family, and that's where I drive for kids to get the highest education. If they're not interested, then the alternate method has to be there for them.
Wow, that is deep. Okay, so so let's place a little bit, or let's talk a little bit more about your fundraiser. Throw a little more light on it, because we want to get people to come and support your campaign and help you out. So again, who are you expecting? Who's going to come? What should people expect when they come? That kind of stuff.
Sure. So right now, like I said, Secretary of State is hosting this event. We're expecting the Brigadier General in Schaumburg to come, and diversified group of people to come and attend this session. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to roll down the strategy that we have for Schaumburg. So please come and visit and meet Secretary of State.
And then the address again?
So it is the Embassy Suites Hotel in Schaumburg. It's right on Algonquin and Meacham Road.
I know what it is.
Oh. Hey, Nathan, you've been going to Schaumburg and you've been having...
Well, my son's mom used to work out there, so I used to have to pick her up every day.
Okay.
So and she worked right off of Algonquin.
Right. Excellent.
Oh, yeah. And it's a beautiful city, too.
Yeah, it's nice.
Very calm, very...
It is. It's a great city. We want to make it better.
I like it.
What's the go-to place if somebody wants to go to Schaumburg and, what would be a go-to place in Schaumburg?
So for a restaurant, Woodfield Mall is there.
Okay.
The biggest mall.
Right, that's true. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of, it depends upon what kind of food do you eat.
Right.
Okay.
So if you want to go for more indigenous food.
Okay, so if you want Indian Chinese food, we have that. If you want Indian food, we have lots of good Indian restaurant, Italian restaurant, Thai restaurant. Bombay Chopstick is one of my favorite. That's a fusion Chinese and Indian restaurant.
And it's a beautiful golf course too. That's where the fundraiser was held for, I think, J.B. Pritzker.
That's right.
Yeah.
So J.B. Pritzker, the Democratic Party brunch was there not past Sunday, but Sunday before. So there were a lot of members of Democratic Party who were there, and they had a lot of fun.
Okay. What should people expect? What should the city of or the village of Schaumburg people expect if or when Nafis Rahman becomes the president of the village?
So the one thing that they are going to see, I will be the first Asian to hold that office. Okay, and I want to bring the community together. Like I said, there's an Indian community, there's a Pakistani community, there's African community, and we need to have fun in Schaumburg. We need to have business access to people. We need to have great school in Schaumburg. We already have great school in Schaumburg, and business friendly. That's one thing I want to work on. I hear a lot of complaints that they're having hard time getting licenses or expanding their businesses currently. So I want to make it business friendly so we get more revenue in.
You mentioned that when you were giving the statistics, you mentioned that of the African community as well. I'm wondering, have you run into an African restaurant over there?
There is none. There is none. You need to bring that.
All right. You see? All right. So if my people, there's no African restaurant in Schaumburg. And Nafis here has a taste for African food.
That's right.
From his looks, I can tell that
I like food.
he would like some jollof and banku and all that. So please, let's not leave our business. Set up our businesses in Chicago alone. There's a big market out there in Schaumburg waiting for our food. So that's an opportunity. But that was just by the way. We have been talking to Nafis Rahman. Right now, he is running for the position for the president of the village of Schaumburg. I don't know if you guys don't call it mayor, right?
So some people call it mayor. Some people call it village president.
Okay.
So
village president, mayor of Schaumburg, it's all one thing. At the end of the day, he wants to be the boss of Schaumburg. Okay. And so he's looking for your support and your support, your resources, whatever you can do to help him become the next one, because according to him, when he gets that position, one thing that you should expect is that it will be the first Asian to hold that position. 2, he wants to bring the village together. He wants to bring the diversity. He wants to make sure that the diversity that exists in that community, in that town, is flourishes. Basically, he wants to make sure it flourishes. He wants to intensify it and also promote more of diversity in that community. And so, please, whatever you can, just do to help. Please make sure you're doing that. Maybe what you can do right now is to share the feed if you're watching us on Facebook. Okay, share the feed so that his message can go a long way. The man just told us that he's in charge of a $2.5 billion dollars budget. So he's sitting on real money, and he has the integrity to manage this type of budget. So look, if you want money, come and ask him. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's what we have 4 minutes to the top of the hour. We have to end tonight's conversation so we can make room for our brothers who are coming in, which is the Igbo show. But last question before we close the discussion. Nafis, are your family watching now? Or do you think you're listening and watching now?
Yes, my family, I have given her the link, my kids and my wife.
They're watching it?
Yes, they're probably watching it.
Okay, so what would you tell them right now? What would you say to them right now?
So I'm going to say they barely see me. They're not going to see me anymore because I'm going to be on campaign after the 5th.
Oh, after the 5th?
After the 5th.
Oh.
Okay.
So they're ready for that?
Few more days, yes. My wife is very supportive. My kids are in high school, so they don't care about me, but they're schooling. They're both going to Schaumburg, Conant High School. So I need full support from my community, my friends, my family members.
I support you.
Thank you.
Maybe you said something very profound about education and how most of the people in your family are highly educated. How is that? Now, I know this one is outside politics, but how is that education and family values? How is that crucial to the development of any community or society?
You know, education is the key to success. Okay, the better education we get, the successful we get. The two things that I have seen in my life. When I came here, I was 17 years old, and I have $20 in my pocket. Okay, and my parents, their focus for me was to get the highest education, and my brothers, my siblings, same thing, right? So that was number one. Once you have the education, number two, you have the desire to work hard, you can accomplish anything.
And then family value.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
He said he had $20, now it's 2.5 billion.
Give us your last words. We're going to be wrapping up, Nathan.
Get out and vote. Don't expect change, and you don't have an opinion if you don't go vote. So don't expect change if you ain't voted.
All right. Nafis, last words.
Thank you so much for having me here. Again, please join me for the fundraiser. That's this Friday coming up at Embassy Suite Schaumburg. Thank you again very much.
You're welcome. Okay. Expocho, Rachel, Lee, Tu, Inez, Turner. Sorry, Inez, I wasn't able to read all your questions, but thank you so much, Inez, Sierra Miller, Johnny Woods, Mr. Candy Ghana, and my brother Nana, Selassie Elliott, my brother, and everybody else that joined us on Facebook. Thank you so much. Hey, Jocelyn, you were also here. Rebecca, thank you all the callers, Eric, Emma, and everybody else that called to make this program a success. Thank you. God bless you. We did tonight. We spoke with Dr. Willie Wilson, who's running for the mayor of the city of Chicago. Juliana Straton is running for lieutenant governor, running on the ticket of J.B. Pritzker, who's running for the governor of the state of Illinois. Elections is on the 7th or the 6th of November. Early voting has already started, but on the 6th of November, we are expecting everybody to go out and vote. We just spoke with Nafis Rahman. God bless you. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. See you next week, Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.